August 1911, a sweltering summer night in Paris. The streets are entirely empty, and inside the massive stone corridors of the Louvre Museum, there is absolute silence. The security patrols have faded away. No one dares to wander the halls. But for one man, standing in the pitch-black darkness of a narrow, unventilated supply closet, the ticking clock has just reached zero. It is time to strike. He does not carry a firearm. He has no tactical equipment. Armed with nothing but a wooden-handled screwdriver and a terrifying reservoir of patience, Vincenzo Peruggia steps out of the shadows. Within moments, he walks out of Europe's most secure art repository, carrying the most recognized masterpiece on the planet, the Mona Lisa. This single, silent extraction triggers an unprecedented global panic. For 2 exhausting years, borders will lock down. International police will chase endless dead ends. How did a lone handyman paralyze the global art world? In this video, we have built a complete 3D reconstruction of the 1911 Louvre to show you exactly 3 things. First, the exact route he took to steal it. Second, how he came within inches of getting away with it forever. And finally, the brilliant, multi-layered conspiracy behind the theft that the world wouldn't discover until decades later. To comprehend the breach, you must examine the architect. Vincenzo Peruggia is an Italian immigrant. He is a carpenter by trade. He is not a career operative. He is a ghost within the infrastructure of the city. The Louvre hired Peruggia. The museum administration contracted his firm to construct heavy protective glass cases for their most valuable canvases. They paid him to build the defences. In doing so, they handed him the ultimate advantage: unrestricted access to the target. August 20th, 1911. Peruggia enters the museum during normal operating hours. He locates a small broom closet near the Salon Carré. He steps inside. He waits. He waits through the evening. He waits through the night. Monday morning arrives. The museum closes to the general public for routine maintenance. Peruggia exits the closet. He wears the standard white linen smock of a museum maintenance worker. He perfectly mirrors his environment. He approaches the Mona Lisa. 80 seconds. That is the exact mathematical duration required to dismantle a masterpiece. He lifts the protective glass enclosure, the very enclosure he helped install. He extracts the heavy wooden panel from its frame. He slides the portrait beneath his white uniform. He walks toward the designated exit. Then a severe logistical failure occurs. The exit door is secured. The doorknob is missing. The primary escape route is completely blocked. Peruggia stands in a sterile stairwell, holding a priceless artifact against his ribs, trapped. Footsteps approach. The operation teeters on the edge of total collapse. A museum plumber descends the stairs. The plumber observes a man in a white smock. The plumber does not see an intruder. He sees a frustrated colleague. The plumber retrieves his personal key. He unlocks the door. He holds it open. Peruggia nods. He steps out into the morning air of Paris. The extraction concludes without a single physical altercation. Time moves forward. 1 hour, 12 hours, 24 hours. For 28 consecutive hours, the Louvre remains entirely oblivious to the missing canvas. Security guards patrol the Salon Carré. They observe the empty space on the wall. They assume the internal photography department relocated the piece for documentation. Finally, a visiting artist requests to view the painting. The alarm sounds. The subsequent reaction is absolute chaos. The information fractures the public consciousness. Headlines dominate every major publication on Earth. The empty wall space at the Louvre attracts thousands of civilians. They do not come to look at art. They align in massive queues simply to stare at the blank space. They mourn the absence. The police launch an aggressive, widespread investigation. They seek elite operatives. They cast a massive net over the city. They detain prominent figures. They bring in Pablo Picasso for intense questioning. They investigate the American financial titan J.P. Morgan. They chase phantoms. They chase shadows. They search for a mastermind who does not exist. The authorities reach a total deadlock. Weeks evaporate into months. The investigation stalls. The Mona Lisa appears to have evaporated from the physical world. The masterpiece did not cross an ocean. It did not enter a secret underground vault. It did not even leave the city limits. It sat exactly 3 kilometers away from the Louvre. For 2 entire years, the portrait rested inside a false-bottomed wooden trunk. It sat in the corner of Peruggia's low-income, dilapidated apartment. Why did a simple carpenter execute this operation? Peruggia operated under a strict ideological framework. He firmly believed Napoleon Bonaparte looted the painting from Italy during historical military campaigns. He viewed his action not as theft, but as an act of national restitution. He sought to return the artifact to its rightful soil. In late 1913, Peruggia initiates the final phase. He travels to Florence, Italy. He carries the wooden trunk. He contacts a prominent local art dealer. He offers to return the masterpiece to the Italian people. The art dealer authenticates the piece. The dealer contacts the authorities. The authorities apprehend Peruggia in his hotel room. The narrative appears complete. The patriot reclaims the art, and the system reclaims the patriot. But history harbors a darker, more complex hypothesis. Was Peruggia truly the sole architect? Whispers point to Eduardo de Valfierno, a highly connected Argentinian operative. Valfierno allegedly manipulated Peruggia. The theory presents a flawless financial model. The hypothesis dictates that Valfierno orchestrated the disappearance of the original simply to create a void. Once the world confirmed the absence, Valfierno commissioned 6 flawless replicas. He approached 6 separate billionaires in the United States. He sold each replica as the stolen original. The buyers placed the forgeries in private vaults, unable to ever boast about their illicit acquisitions. Valfierno secured immense, untraceable wealth. Peruggia took the fall. The absolute truth of this secondary syndicate remains buried in the archives of the 20th century. The judicial system processes Vincenzo Peruggia. The Italian public embraces him. They view him as a national hero. The courts acknowledge his patriotic motive. They hand him a remarkably lenient sentence. He serves only a few months in confinement. The masterpiece returns to Paris. The reception is unprecedented in the history of art. Consider the profound paradox of this event. Prior to 1911, the Mona Lisa held a respectable position within the Louvre. It was a respected work, but it was not a global phenomenon. The empty space changed the trajectory of history. The extraction generated the legend. The collective grief of the public, the endless newspaper headlines, and the mystery of its disappearance elevated a mid-tier masterpiece into an untouchable cultural icon. The Carpenter did not just relocate a painting, he manufactured its immortality. What is your evaluation of Vincenzo Peruggia? Does his historical motive justify his action? Was he a dedicated patriot or simply an opportunistic individual? State your perspective in the comments section below. Engage the like button, subscribe to the channel to track further historical anomalies and complex operations. Farewell, and until next time.